It is Bruins Benders post-game live, brought to you on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. Through InsideTheRink.com, you can follow us on social media at Bruins Benders as well. Go ahead and subscribe right now to YouTube. And join us in the comments section tonight as the Bruins take another L, this one on the road to the New Jersey Devils 5-1. A game where they were severely outplayed again, outshot by a large margin. Gave up 3 power play goals to the New Jersey Devils. And, just another instance of, I think you're seeing now that they're really missing their top 2 defensemen, number one. And also offensively, there's just not a lot of juice there where they can sustain any type of pressure. And the other team seems to get the puck a lot. And the Bruins don't. And I just noticed time after time tonight that the Devils beat the Bruins to puck after puck after puck.
That's what happens when you're big and slow. Yeah. Thanks, Cam. Thanks. Yeah. Nice roster. Nice roster you have here.
Yeah.
A roster that can't play in today's NHL. Well done. If it was 1985, your team would probably be pretty good because you could beat the fuck out of everybody in your own zone. But you can't do that now. So they just skate around you like you're standing still. It's awesome to watch, really. As a fan, I love it. Bruins hockey. Watch it.
Fantastic.
Watch it. They look, you know what they look like? They look like the windmills out in the ocean that just stand there and spin. The blades spin around and somehow we get energy from that. The only energy in this game is going to the other team as they circle you. Again and again. They had a shift in the second period where Zadorov and Peak were out there for over 3 minutes. Over 3 minutes because they couldn't get a puck. And the only reason at the time that it wasn't a blowout was Swayman stood on his head there for about 3 minutes before the team decided to give up and just let goal after goal go in. Back to undisciplined hockey. That's fun too. Let's take all the penalties against the third-ranked power play in the league. It's a recipe for success. Just like getting outshot, vastly outshot again and again and again is a recipe for success. Mm-hmm. You can't keep doing that and expect to win games against good teams. You know when their last road win was? Do you know?
I don't.
It was in regulation, December 14th, their last regulation road win.
Really?
They've won twice on the road in overtime or a shootout since then. But yeah, December 14th was the last time they won a motherfucking road game in regulation. This team fucking stinks. They stink and they suck and they stink. Mm-hmm. Sorry, John. There's just no two ways about it.
They stink.
The only question about the retool is, are we going to blow up the entire fucking organization or are we just going to trade a few guys? Because they ain't going to the playoffs, folks. They ain't going there.
No.
So it's the retool it's plan B. It's the retool. There's no decision. No decision needs to be made. If they decide anything other than that, they're as dense as steel. I don't know. Like as dense as a car door. I don't know. If they come to any other decision than to retool this team and blow the damn thing up, they shouldn't be involved in hockey anymore. They shouldn't.
The roster construction is just so poor for this team, and I really think it was because they were so tired of hearing people talk about how heavy teams are beating them. So then they go out and they finally say, "Screw it, we're going to get just huge." Well, the problem is you can't skate, and a lot of those guys really can't play offensive hockey, and you already don't have playmaking centers at all. So it's just a bunch of guys out there. It's like you threw a bunch of guys out there together. It's been like that all year long.
They didn't take into account how anybody fits with anybody.
No,
they have a team full of redundancy. Mm-hmm. They have a team full of the same guy. They really do.
They do.
The same guy. You could put them all together in a line. Kepke, Jones, Frederick, Geeky, Kastelik, Beecher. They're all the same fucking guy. The same.
The same guy.
They can't do anything offensively. They're They're not very good defensively. They take penalties. They're dumb. They do stupid shit. They don't continue. They don't possess the puck. They have bad hockey IQ. It's the same shit. The same guys. What are we doing? Why do you have 14 fourth line fucking wingers on the team? It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then you go out and you pay Elias Lindholm 7.75 and he's playing on the third line where he probably belongs, but you paid him 7.75. What the fuck are you doing? What are you
doing? You said that last offseason. You said that they were going to overpay for a guy who was probably a second or third line center. And lo and behold, here he is, third line center. You said they weren't as good as they were the previous year and that you were really concerned they weren't going to make the playoffs. And lo and behold, here we are. You said that it was going to be fifth or sixth place by the time Four Nations happens, and lo and behold, Columbus wins tonight. Here we are. Like it's just we've seen this a mile away, and there's nothing they can really do about it.
No, there's nothing they can do about it.
Nothing they can do about it right now. I mean, you could say like, go get this guy, go get that guy. It's such a mess that there's nothing you can really do about it because you'd have to piece by piece kind of figure this thing out. And they have, McAvoy and Lindholm are out and Frederick is sick. And, they're throwing these guys in like Max Jones goes in again tonight. Another friggin', I know he scored 2 goals in Providence the other night or whatever, but maybe he's just a 4A player, dude. Like maybe Oliver Wahlstrom couldn't score in a brothel with a fistful of $100 bills right now.
Well, like that play is the microcosm of their whole season. The guy has a wide open net, and instead of just having a scorer's touch, he tries to beat the guy to the spot low along the ice. That's the only play the guy has. Is
slide
it pad along the ice and get over, and he makes the save. If you just had a little poise with the puck, a little touch, you roof that thing, and it's 4-2. And maybe the third period's different. It's not, but maybe it would be.
Maybe.
And you lose, 5-2 instead of 5-1. And if he had scored that goal, my prediction in the last episode would have been correct because I said Devils 5-2, and instead it was 5-1.
5-1
and it was a get right game for the Devils. I'll go back to that over and over again. The Devils have lost 4 in a row. They have 2 or 3 wins in their last 10 or 11 games. If your team is struggling, you hope the Bruins are on your schedule next. That's all it comes down to right now.
You hope.
That's all it comes down to right now. I hope they go to the bottom of the goddamn league.
Yeah.
Fire the front office into the sun, not on the street, not somewhere else, into the sun, so they burn up, and I never have to see them ever again. Fire them into the sun.
Let's say this happens. Let's say they miss the playoffs and they go like toward the bottom. Like say they're down by the Islanders and Sabres at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like does that change anything?
That'll give them
people get fired.
I fucking hope so.
I don't know. I really am unsure because the last time I heard Charlie Jacobs speak,
it was a vote of confidence
about how he had all the confidence in the world in Don Sweeney and so forth. And right now, I don't know how you can have any confidence in what they're doing. I'm not sure what they're doing with the young players, of which they have like 2, and they can't even develop them. They have no. They're drafting. I mean, they have no developed players that they've developed in the 10 years that Don Sweeney's been here as general manager. Okay. They have nobody but Trent Frederick and John Beecher at the forward position, and both could be gone at the end of the season. They could end up with zero.
They should be gone.
Yeah.
At the end of the season. They should be.
They should be.
Not could be. They should be.
They should be. 100% they should be. I'm not giving Trent Frederick 4 years for 4.5 or whatever the hell that projection is. I'm not giving John Beecher 2 years for 175. For what? For what? I can find some other guy off the street to do that for $835. Mark Kastelic makes $835. He's better than Beecher. Like, why am I giving Beecher 1.75?
You absolutely shouldn't give Beecher 1.75.
That's unbelievable. And there's
You
people
shouldn't
on
give.
X I'm watching. They say that they, well, he skates and he's this and he that, and they should keep him because he's a draft. They're drafted guy and blah blah blah. I'm like, you kidding me? Like Mark Kaslick does his job better at $835,000.
You shouldn't give Beecher $1.75.
No,
Never mind 1.75 million.
No.
You shouldn't even buy that guy a cup of coffee. Like, see ya, Johnny. Like, it's been real. Go somewhere else and skate real fast and
who are you keeping in this group? Who you keep? So Frederick, Geeky, Beecher, Kepke. Who are the other guys who are up this year?
I will keep Morgan Geeky
and Lowry, right? The rest see you.
Yeah, and I still like Lowry tonight was back to the other team, not being real physical.
No.
Exposed. Offensively, he's talented, but defensively, he is a mess. He's
exposed. Yeah, he's exposed.
And he's exposed when Lindholm and McAvoy aren't there to eat minutes. Like,
yes.
It's tough sometimes. Like, the decision making is not there, and the physicality for a defenseman is not there. He needs to play much, much tougher in his own end.
Right now, third pair specialty guy.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, that's that's Grzelcyk. That's Torrey Krug.
Grzelcyk. He's taller Grzelcyk.
With height. Yeah.
Yeah. Taller, probably more talented offensively, Matt Grzelcyk.
Yeah. Because Torrey Krug, as much as we hated on the guy, he was 5'6". Yeah. He put up points on the power play. He could run a power play. He had 50, 60 points one year.
He could.
So he can do things on the back end.
Yeah.
Lowry hasn't proven that he can do that shit yet.
No, he can't. No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
So until we see that from him, I mean, it's like what you said. It's Grzelcyk with height. Grzelcyk leaves the Bruins and he's having a good year.
Well, you saw with Dougie Hamilton tonight. Like that's we talk about Lowry being a poor man's Dougie Hamilton.
Sure.
Well, Lowry is very poor.
Yeah.
A very poor Dougie Hamilton, because they saw it tonight. Like, Hamilton had his issues here and they shipped him out and all that stuff. And he's been with 100 teams and he's on the block again. I heard his name about going somewhere else this year too. He can't seem to stick, but Jesus, I wish Lowry had Dougie Hamilton's skill.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because he was drafted 9th overall for a reason. I mean,
he gets the puck on net.
He can get the puck on net. He can work the power play. He has good hockey IQ, and he's not a monster in his own zone by any stretch of the imagination. But he's adequate there. He's fine.
Yes, he's adequate.
He's decent.
Yeah, he's figured it out.
2 years ago, he had a 74-point season, Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Lowry can be a poor man's Dougie Hamilton, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, just give me 50 points at this
I know.
point.
That's all I'm saying.
No. All right. Fan comments. Matthew Curtis. I was hoping to watch the Bruins stay hemmed in their zone for 45 minutes tonight and allow another 100 shot attempts. Super excited about
you were looking for, Matthew. I think you might have got
that. Yeah, you got it. You were just shy of 100 shot attempts. Also super excited about Patrick Brown and Max Jones call up. Max Jones made the lineup tonight. Trent Frederick's still sick. Patrick Brown is up, but didn't make it in there tonight, unfortunately. Cam Show, first time Jersey has scored 4 goals in a game in 4 weeks. Did it in 36 minutes tonight. That second period was atrocious.
That was hot dog shit on a stick.
That was bad hockey. That was turnover after turnover and not being able to clear and the Devils were all over the place. And like you said, Swayman cloned himself. Like, there were 2 goalies in there. He made some saves that were unbelievable. And then finally, a couple go in. I mean, after a while, a couple go in. We've been on Swayman, but that was unbelievable.
Yeah,
he was able to keep it. It could have been 9-1.
Yeah, I mean, this game tonight was not on him. Like the team in front of him did not show up at all. And look, I'm not one to put the game on the officiating, but a couple of brutal calls against a team with the third best power play in the league, and the penalty killing doesn't come through. You got to be able to play through bad calls, and they were bad. Like the Brazeau call was bad. He was charging the net. The guy took his skates out. Like he didn't plow into the goalie. His skates out. Like Dylan took his skates out. Nothing he can do there. And the coil thing, like you said, how can you hook somebody with one hand?
Yeah, I mean, he put his stick out there, and the guy chicken winged it.
Yeah,
and they call the hooking.
Like, I understand those are bad calls, but your penalty kill has got to rise to the occasion there. And in the past, Bruins teams have been able to play through that stuff. They've been able to play through that, and they've had good specialty teams. Not anymore. I was doing a preview for the website for this game. The Bruins haven't been this bad defensively since the 2015-2016 season. They've been in the top 9 defensively. Yeah. From 23-24 all the way through the 16-17 season. Top 9. And most of the time it was top 6. They were 9th once. Before that, they were like 5th, 6th, 3rd, first. So, and in the 15-16 season, they were 19th. They weren't even this bad. Right now, going into this game, they were 23rd.
23rd.
And it got worse after tonight because they gave up 5, I'm sure. So,
oh my God,
it's the worst defensive team the Bruins have had in 10 years.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, but it shows.
It does.
It shows. And you were talking about tonight, Carlo. He had 30 giveaways last year. He's at 57. 35. 35 last year. He's at 57 right now.
Yep.
Right now.
I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
But it's really the whole team. It's the whole team.
Yeah.
But I think McAvoy is close as well.
Yeah. They just give the puck away incessantly. They haven't figured out how they want to play too, or they still going kind of north south, or they don't possess the puck like they used to. It's just it's tough. T-Boss says this is our season. Can't wait until the yard sale starts. Can't stand watching the shit on this team. Sweeney made those call ups. He cares less than Monty ever did. Pejman. How much longer until someone loses their job? This shit is embarrassing and unwatchable. Matthew Curtis, there's 15 guys in this team that can go right now. I want organization-changing moves. Sweeney nearly gone. Someone with a letter traded. But can we at least dump Coyle, Carlo, Freddie, Beecher, for fuck's sake? Sorry, John, says Pejman. Or do we need to wait for GM Canada's side gig to end? Boy, that's just, and I know, look, we could probably overdo that thing, but the optics are just like, do we have to really? I mean, the whole thing just adds another thing that just frustrates the hell out of me.
Yeah, of course it does.
Like, for God's sakes, can we pay attention to our own team? This is why GMs of teams in the league should not be doing this shit during the season. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Your team is in the fucking toilet. Sorry, John. Yeah. And here you are, like, woo. Yeah.
You're going scouting other teams' players for your own Canada team.
Yeah. Great. I looked it up, by the way. Charlie McAvoy this season, 57 giveaways. 57.
He has 57 as well.
This season. Carlo is 35 this season.
Yeah.
At this point. McAvoy has 57 this season.
Oh, McAvoy is 57. Okay.
Yeah, this season, Carlo had 57 of all last year. McAvoy last year had 64. So McAvoy is almost last year.
Jesus Christ.
So, I think it's a team-wide problem. It's a, I honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the way they try to break the puck out. And I also think it has a lot to do with the forwards and not having any team speed and not being good along the walls. You have guys playing the wall playing wings that are naturally centers and don't know how to do it.
Right.
Or are playing on their offside and can't take pucks off the wall, and they're standing still and they're standing in the wrong place. It's a systematic failure on all accounts.
I'll tell you, it is. It is. It's a from the preseason when they barely played guys together and they slept through that thing, and then decided all of a sudden, season opener, we're going to be ready to go. Guys hadn't played with each other. They had no rhythm, no chemistry, nothing. That slow start started the whole thing, and then the Montgomery thing threw another wrench into it, where people were, he obviously quit. Zadorov even said something the other day about I'm not going to say much, but we thought Monty was different than I had heard he was from Dmitry Orlov.
Yeah,
because he was talking to Orlov, and Orlov told him how Monty was. Zadorov's like, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So as we said, just judging by his body language, you buffoons.
Yeah.
That, just watch the games. Just watch the people.
That's all you have to do.
Like, Jesus.
Body language will tell you volumes without having to say a word.
It screams.
It does.
So I don't get what he's saying. What he looks like with his hands in his pockets and not talking to guys and then screaming at guys, and then he just looked like he was checked out.
He was,
about 6 or 8 games before he got fired, to the point where they had to fire him.
Sure, they did,
because he just mailed it in. He mailed it in. So people saying, well, it's not Monty's fault and everything. Yeah, to a point, but it is your fault and how you react to it. Like how you respond. You act like a dingbat. Then
bitch.
That's your fault.
You're going to say it.
Yeah,
act like a bitch.
A bitch. Yeah. Coyle by Carlo by. Why the fuck is Wallstrom still here? I don't know. He's playing a little better. What the fuck's that mean? Okay, great. Like, you can't you have somebody else, Lysell, Merkulov? What's a little better mean? He doesn't do anything. Like, it's a complete waste of time. Jesus Christ, play your younger guys. You mean to tell me that Lysell would be worse than Wallstrom? Like, he would give you less than Wallstrom? At least you could be giving him some experience. Like, why are you wasting time with these guys who have no future with the team? You're not going to sign Wallstrom at the end of the year for 3 years.
No.
Like, he's not. So why even put him out there? Like, for God's sakes. Like,
I'm
wasting time with people they're not going to be invested in. Like, for God, there's just no plan. There's just no plan.
There isn't. We've talked about
the next guy out there.
Talked about it 100 times. There's no organizational plan at all.
Plan. They don't know what their identity is. They don't know what type of player they want. They don't have any type of plan on the structure of the roster. It's just kind of throw guys together. Then he had this harebrained idea that we're going to get all centers. And like you said, centers who don't play on the wall, so now you're losing all sorts of puck battles. None of the centers can make a play. So this is what you got. It's a wonder that they're anywhere near a playoff spot.
They shouldn't be near a playoff spot.
Not one iota. Well, they're a minus 27 or what the hell they are right now. For God's sakes. I can keep saying it. For God's sakes. Rooting for a 6-1 loss tomorrow. Go ahead.
They were minus 24.
Mm-hmm.
Did they lose their last game before this game?
They lost that.
No, they beat the Sharks.
Okay, so I think this is up to date then. The minus 24, I think, is up to date.
But after tonight, gentlemen, the Bruins are now 2 places out of a wild card spot because the Columbus Blue Jackets did beat the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight and jumped them from 2 places out to first in the wild card.
Great.
Good.
That's fantastic.
That's what it's honestly the way that this team is playing and the way they've played all year. They do not deserve to be in the playoff structure.
No, they don't.
They don't deserve it. They haven't played well enough.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting, they're getting what they should get.
Mm-hmm.
We are who they thought they were. Or whatever the saying is. I don't know.
How many times have they been blown out by good teams on the road this year by 4 goals or more?
Times.
All
all of the times.
Every one of the times.
Every time they've played a good team on the road, they've been blown out.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It feels like it anyway to me.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, we didn't need to know what your sips are tonight.
Yeah, sips.
I am drinking a triple bourbon tonight because having to watch that team, I mean, Jesus Christ, folks. Alcoholism at its finest here.
I just banged down some bleach. I'm
going back to the Saxon's maple bourbon, and I'm gonna have to take a trip back up there because the Bruins have sucked so bad that I've run through 2 bottles already.
Wow,
it's not gonna last me the rest of the winter.
Wow. So your liver's gonna be in the front in the passenger seat.
Head back up to Vermont to get some.
Yeah. Rooting for a 6-1 loss tomorrow, says Pejman. Fire Sweeney chance. Now here's a thing.
Ooh, Pejman.
Fire Sweeney chance that were back a couple weeks ago. Those could come back tomorrow. You go down 2-0 tomorrow, and then Colorado comes in Saturday. You could these next 2 games, you could hear some really hot Fire Sweeney chants. Wow, it could happen.
If the Bruins lose tomorrow, they are guaranteed to drop yet again in the standings because the 2 teams below them play each other, being Philadelphia and New York Rangers. So guaranteed that they will lose space if they don't win.
Unbelievable.
Right now, the Bruins are 6th in the Atlantic, boys and girls. 6th. Yeah. Okay. The only 2 teams below them in the Atlantic, Detroit with 47 points and 2 games in hand, so they could catch you, and Buffalo with 41 points. So
I'm telling you.
I mean, they are falling like a stone.
They could be in last place. They could. Adrian, I've been all over the place missing games and post-game shows. Really looking forward to hearing this one. We're glad to have you back, Adrian.
Yeah.
It is the brass that has broken our team spirit, conceded an incomplete roster, and do dick about it all year long so far. Oh, they all say that all they need is already in the room. That is bullshit, says T-Boz. It was a flawed roster after you had 22 whatever it was million to spend, and then you get a defenseman who really hasn't added much for 6 years, $5 million a year, and a guy who you needed a top center, so you get a guy who's probably a second or third line center, and is probably similar to Coyle and Zacha, who you already had.
Yeah. Here's a stat that I heard today that I had no idea about. And this is part of the reason people don't like to use plus minus. And we've actually said, in a positive light about Zadorov being a plus player. He's actually -2. That might have changed after tonight. He was -2, 5-on-5. He was +9 with the goal, with empty net, with an empty net situation. So the Bruins have scored empty net goals with him on the ice at the end of games, and that was contributing to his plus.
Wow.
So there you go. He's actually a minus player in real hockey terms.
Empty net goals should not be included in plus minus. It's an odd man situation.
I would agree with you.
I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all. But that's a telling stat.
Sure is.
That's a telling stat. I mean, Elias Lindholm tonight, again, I feel like he doesn't even touch the puck. Like, I don't even hear his name.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, he'll go a period and be like, Jesus, who's Lindholm playing with? Because he didn't even touch the puck. He didn't even hear it. I don't know.
He doesn't even, in the defensive zone, he doesn't even get pucks like on the breakout. Like, isn't that the center's job to be low support for the defenseman? Yeah. So, like, when they get the puck, it goes to the center and then you can break it out. Like, he's not even getting pucks there. Like, where is he? What the hell is he doing?
I don't know.
He checks pretty well, and that's the only time I ever notice him. Occasionally, he'll make a steal or something on a forecheck, lay a body on somebody. But yeah, I mean, he's invisible most of the time.
C2 Paint makes a really good point. He says, listening to the rants justified for Shizzle, but the downfall started when Sweeney fired Bruce Cassidy. And that goes back to where the team had a kind of a mutiny, or some players, whatever the hell it was, against Cassidy. And then he gets fired. And then they bring in Montgomery, who's a less experienced coach. He kind of blows the first round series after historic season.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Cassidy win the cup.
Yep.
So that right there is the beginning of just a dumpster fire, as Beth Lang says.
E2 Payne is 100% correct.
That's a valid point. Like if they keep
very,
Cassidy,
very good point.
Maybe that historic season. I have said this before, and I really believe it. Like if Cassidy was coaching that team,
They win.
I think they win that cup.
I think they do too.
I really do. I really do.
I think the team discipline wise, I think that's when the room kind of lost it.
Mm-hmm.
I think since Cassidy was fired is when their defensive structure and tenacity and identity went out the window.
Right.
Montgomery wanted more offense from the defense, and they had that historic run, and everybody was feeling good. And then they blew it in the playoffs, and they never really recovered after that. And they don't have the defense to make that system work.
Again,
they don't have Carolina's defense. They don't have Cale Makar and Devin Taves. They don't have Colorado's defense. They don't have a mobile puck moving jump up in the play defense. They don't have that. So to try to run that system and then get burned with all these odd man rushes and giving up goals, it's just dumb. It's just stupid. They need to go back to a system that is Claude Julien based.
Yeah.
That's what they need for this type of defense that they have now. That's what they need. They need a D to D, D to D, D to D. Make sure you get it out system. That's what they need.
The system doesn't match the personnel, and they don't have much of a clue on how to put the roster together to create whatever system they want to play. Like, so Sweeney brought in these other guys, and knowing that Montgomery wants a faster, quicker pace in the offense to, defense to jump in offensively and everything. But then he goes get these pluggers. So it didn't match what his coach is trying to do. Like, that's just an asinine. Fire the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I said it
differently.
I said it a million times. If that's the route they were going to go, they should have fired Montgomery in the offseason.
Yeah, I believe
they let him go into the season as a lame duck coach. No wonder he checked out. Like, I know they offered him a contract extension, and we don't know what the money was. Maybe it was a slap in the face. Maybe Montgomery just didn't want to be here and was like, "I'm going to St. Louis. Fuck y'all. Peace out." Like, I don't know, but either way, it wasn't going to work with the players you brought in and that coach. It wasn't going to work. They should have seen that. I don't understand why this management team can't see what's right in front of their face. Like, why can I see it? Why can you see it? Why have we been talking about it the whole time and no one else seems to fucking notice? Why can't anybody else see it? I'm not a hockey general manager, but I can tell that the team stinks. Why can I tell?
Yeah,
why can I tell that you're bidding against yourself for Elias Lindholm? Why can't anybody else fucking figure it out over there?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They had to take a little bit of a risk and be like, okay, we need to fire Montgomery at the end of last season if we're going to go a different way and find the coach that can coach that. And they didn't. They tried to put new guys who they want to play a different kind of style in with the old coach, and it doesn't work. So that's where it starts. And you hit the nail on the head with the risk. Like, that's their risk first. Like, they're not taking a risk. He doesn't take a risk. When has he ever taken a risk with his hockey team? Ever? Never. Not once. Never one time. Never one time. T-Buzz says sip is maximum strength NyQuil. Cab says his sip cab is Old Forster 1920.
Ooh,
and then of course T-Buzz says just picked up a 10-year 1920 from the distillery. Let's see, Chris Tuttle. Maybe they should put two goalies in the net at the same time. I thought Swayman was two goalies at one point. He was standing on his head.
He looked like the guy from the Matrix there. It was just fucking...
He did. He looked like Denny Lemieux and Slapshot. He was just everywhere. If it wasn't for faceoffs, Lindholm wouldn't touch the puck says Bruins 1970. It's a good point. I mean, he does take some faceoffs, but again, that's a third line center. John Beecher wins some faceoffs.
Yeah.
He doesn't make $7.75 million a year for 7 years, whatever it is. Brian Locke,
you know what? Yeah. Sorry, I wish they went out a few years back and got John Gabriel Pajot when they had the chance.
Yeah.
And he was like $4.5 million. He's a tenacious third line guy, wins faceoffs, good defensively, and chips in a little offensively. And he's 4.5. That's who they should have got. But instead, they got Elias Lindholm for $3 million more bucks a year, and a lot of years. And look, he's not as good of a player as Pajot is.
He's not.
He just isn't.
I would have taken Pajot and Sean Monahan. I wanted Sean Monahan when he was making $3 million for 1 year.
Sure.
And Sean Monahan's done great work with Columbus, who is in a playoff spot.
Yep.
And you're not. Brian Locke, how much do you think the Ullmark Swayman tandem covered up for a lot of the holes discrepancies we're seeing in their play this year? They look slow and lost with zero rhythm out there. Brian, it is an excellent point that we touched on before. The team was, even when they were really good, even when they won 65 games, the goalies really dug them out of some situations and won games for them, like stole games for them. But that team was resilient enough to not play well the first couple periods and then have a really good third after your goalie kept you in it.
Yep.
And this season, that's just not the case. Either the goalie doesn't keep you in it, or the third periods are just atrocious. They don't play well in the third period.
Under Montgomery has been bad all along. Yeah. And the goalies have bailed them out, or they've been able to outscore the mistakes, as Mr. Cam Neely has said. That team could outscore their mistakes. This team cannot. And the rookies that he was talking about with that comment, that's why they can't develop anybody.
That's right.
He's worried about them outscoring their mistakes.
That's why. Pejman says 12th loss by 3+ goals this season. Wow. I agree with both of you. Those are numbers from the worst team in the league. They should be nowhere near the wild card race, and by the weekend won't be. Also, 11 of those 12 are by 4 goals or more. Oh my God. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Let's see. Brian Dussault. I know it's not all on Sacco, and besides making a major change starting from the brass upstairs and a number of players, but what about bringing in Joel Quenneville? Here it comes again. I'll tell you this, Brian. Whether or not that's right, or if in a hockey sense, I think after the Mitchell Miller thing, I don't think they would touch Quenneville by a country mile. No. I don't think they would. I really don't. And you could make the argument, over time, people, kind of let it go, and there's a lot of reclamation projects and sports, and guys come back and get jobs after things happen. But I just don't think the Bruins are going to be that team. I don't.
No, I think that situation was too toxic, and I don't think people. I honestly, I don't think a lot of fans, especially female fans, would stand for it. And Bruins fans are a bunch that's known to speak their mind. They did it on Mitchell Miller, which I think caught the management by surprise. I don't think they expected that kind of blowback. They thought they could kind of slip it under the radar, and fans were unhappy. And I think maybe not to that extent, but you would see a similar blowback if they tried to sign Quenneville. I just don't think the Bruins would want to go there. There are other guys out there. If you want to get a guy with some cachet that's, has some experience, I would go more like Bruce Boudreau. I'd go a guy like that. If you're looking for a guy who's done it before, that's won a little bit, that has some cachet, that would be a guy that I would look at maybe. But I'm more of the opinion that you need to go in a totally different direction to try to get younger, get some new ideas in here. I would want more like a young guy, like a Spencer Carberry type, like go for a Nate Lehman or somebody like that, where it's new. He might be able to relate better to some of the younger guys on the team. His teams in Providence play really hard, so that probably would be the direction I would go if I'm the Bruins. But it'll probably be some kind of recycle job. It'll be someone from the organization. It'll be Jamie Lang and Bruner or fucking Chris Kelly or
yeah. I know. Rob Spector says, when is Inside the Rink getting you guys a fucking green screen? That's an excellent question, Rob.
Yeah.
I disappear.
Never mind a green screen.
Disappear,
Yeah, you don't want to see my blank walls in my basement there, buddy.
No. What happens inside these walls?
Mm-hmm.
Lettieri has looked okay, says Bruins 1970. I think he has. I mean, Lettieri's done okay. But again, okay. But he's he's not going to be part of the plan going forward. And I just think that guys who are part of the plan need to be playing now, and guys who aren't need to be halfway out the door.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know why you're playing guys who aren't part of the plan going forward. If you have a plan, which is debatable. Tomorrow's going to be ugly, says Fox Guy 67. Pitchforks will be out, and I'm really hoping. I hope they win. But if they don't win, I really hope those fire Sweeney chants come again. I hope it gets really difficult for the organization to ignore it. I really do.
Yeah, I hope they come back. Look, I've been calling for it for a while. I don't want him in charge of the rebuild. I don't think he built this roster very well at all. I think he wasted cap space. I think he doesn't particularly know how to draft. I have issues up and down the line with him. I don't think he's been particularly good in trades. I mean, the trades that people can say worked out, the Taylor Hall thing fell in his lap. That's where he wanted to go, Taylor Hall. Yep. So, he won that trade. The Coyle Ryan Donato trade, did he win that now? The way Ryan Donato was playing? I'm not sure.
Yeah, at the time, yes. Now,
at the time you would say yes. Now, maybe not. So, I'm not in love with Don Sweeney. I don't think he has a plan. I don't think he really knows what he's doing. So I would like to see somebody else in charge of the team. And I think Cam Neely should be nowhere near the team. I loved him as a player. But he has no business being involved in hockey operations at all. Has no idea what the current NHL is. None.
No, none. Cab brings up an interesting question. Does Sacco have any say in the call-ups and roster? I say nope.
0.
I say 0. I say this is part of the issue.
Yeah.
When Montgomery was here, was that Montgomery said it. He said that that's up to Don Sweeney. Like he said it at one point that he doesn't have say. It was Don Sweeney who would manipulate the roster, and
Sweeney's.
And Sweeney, I believe, even tells you, who plays how many minutes and so forth. I think he pretty much, scripts the friggin' game for the coach, to be honest with you, especially with Sacco and interim. I don't think he's given him any kind of say.
No.
At all.
I don't think so. I don't think he has anything to do with it. I think he just coaches the team and tries to do the best he can. And look, it's a flawed roster, so it's not really on Sacco. But
no, it's not on Sacco. It's not on Montgomery. It's not on any of the coaches. And Sacco's just taking a bullet right now. He's the company guy. They probably gave him extra money and said, "Take a bullet for us." And
it's on the players and it's on the management. It's on the players and the management. And look, Monty, after he quit, it was on him too. Because as much as you shouldn't really do that as if you're a professional. You shouldn't just give up, even if you want to be somewhere else. But
sure,
he did. So, originally it wasn't on him, but then it was partly on him. And then, obviously the players have all underperformed. And the roster, as Sweeney himself said, was incomplete.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a really, I don't know. It's just been one of those seasons where I think it finally is all caught up to them. like
Yeah.
the long runs where you tried to add pieces, you mortgaged your future. I mean, eventually this was going to happen if you didn't make some really savvy moves to try to kind of wiggle yourself in there and keep a playoff caliber team. And they just didn't make enough good moves to make that happen. So you're going to hit this lull right here, like 06, 07, 14, 15, where now we're in that 10th year of cycle. It's been kind of a 10-year cycle.
Yeah, I mean,
and
you look at Tampa Bay, and we talked about bold or risk taking. They let their captain, 2-time, 3-time Stanley Cup captain, walk. Let him walk.
Yeah.
And they re-signed Gensel, essentially with Stamkos's money.
Yeah.
A younger version of the guy, and he's having success there. So they, got rid of a guy who was on the downside, and he's having a bad year in Nashville for a guy who's on, in the prime of his career. And, they reloaded right there. That's a bold move. It's a bold move to be able to trade, let your captain walk away and then replace him with another guy. Like the Bruins would never do that in a million years.
No.
And that's what we're talking about. They don't have the balls to make a move like that.
Why isn't Marchand extended yet?
I think there's a number of things. I think it's the amount that he wants. I think maybe he's wavering whether he wants to go through a rebuild at this point in time now. Seeing where the team's at, he's looking at this team and saying, do I want to be a part of this for 3 more years? I already have a cup. Like, do I want to do this and grind for 3 years on a shitty team? Or do I want to go someplace where I can win?
I think
his legacy as a Bruin, ending his career as a Bruin, really, really important to him. I think it is. And I think that's the only reason he's staying here right now.
Right.
But that could change. I 100% think that could change. So I'm not sure what will happen with him. If he decides to retire, if he decides he wants to keep going and he's going to go somewhere else, or if they come to an agreement. But he's not going to take a discount to play with this collection of shitbags. Sorry, John. He's not.
No, he's not. And I'll tell you, I think he's a little, I don't know. I think he might be a little irked that guys stopped taking discounts.
He could be.
Started getting these big money, and he took a discount, and that was part of the agreement with Bergeron and Chara. I mean, they led the way.
Sure.
And then Marchand followed suit. And these guys aren't following suit, and I think that's part of the issue with him. And I don't think he's going to want to take any type of discount. People are talking about, he's going to take like a Bergie type thing. Bullshit. It's not. He's not. Yeah. He's not doing that. If he did that, they would do it. He'd be signed,
right?
If he was doing that.
Yeah,
but he's not. I'm telling you, he's not. So I think it's a very good chance that he gets traded at the deadline. If they're in the tank, if they're like second to last in the Eastern Conference and no real end in sight, and he goes to 4 Nations and he's playing Nathan McKinnon in Colorado Saturday at home.
Mm-hmm.
Shoots the shit with McKinnon, goes to dinner with him. He's at the 4 Nations with McKinnon, 2 Nova Scotia guys.
Yeah.
Colorado has all the opportunity in the world to make a cup run.
Yeah.
That's a real good piece for them to add.
Mm-hmm.
And really enticing. Really enticing.
Yeah. Can you imagine Marchand on the left wing with McKinnon and Rantanen?
I mean, yikes.
That'd be pretty good.
That would rejuvenate him.
Oh, fuck yeah, it would.
He would be a hell of a lot bigger weapon out there because he can still play some. He's not the same as he was, but he's still an above average left wing. So if you throw him out there, yikes. I'm saying, I think that could happen. It gets closer by the day, I think.
Yeah. The more the Bruins continue to play like this, the more likely he is to go somewhere else.
How much Connor says in the background here, dark horse on Marchand is Dallas. Why?
Play with Sagan.
Play with Tyler
Sagan is actually hurt and going to be out for the rest of the regular season, which gives them copious amounts of cap space. And they're looking to add some scoring on that team.
He'd fit in well.
Does he have a no trade, Marchand?
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
He has a full.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he probably does.
They give out those things like candy.
They do. So I would, if I had to pick, I would say Colorado.
I would too.
And Colorado has some of the assets.
They might have some. I don't know if they've used it or not, but they have a long-term IR with Landeskog too, so they should have room to fit them in.
They do.
Marchand has an 8-team no trade list.
Okay.
So he can only be selecting 8 teams in the league to not go to. It's pretty wide open.
Because I don't think Dallas would be on that list.
Yeah.
The question here in the comments, Jeremy Orr, how was Patra tonight? Patra was a -2. One of them wasn't his fault. It was Carlo falling down like a deer on ice. Osterley coughing the puck up. And then Osterley gets in, Coyle skates, a complete shit show. Patra had nothing to do with it, and the puck's in the net.
Yeah, I mean, Carlo passed it to the other team. The other team coughed it up. Osterley got it, tries to make an outlet pass to Coyle, throws it right into his skates. The Devils keep it in and score. I mean, that's how it is. You had the puck on your stick twice with opportunities to clear the zone, and both guys shit the bed, and it ended up in your net.
But Patra had some, he was okay tonight. I thought he was fine.
He was fine. I mean, he still looks like he gets banged around a little bit on the wall.
He does.
He's got to get stronger still. I think I don't love the way his body language as he's going to the bench. After a shift when he's trying to change.
Yeah.
He's like, he does that skate where it's like my shoulders down and he's like, oh, I'm like so spent. I'm trying as hard as I can to get to the bench now. Like,
you get it.
Shut it out. Cut it out.
Stop it.
Just skate over to the bench like a normal fucking player and get on it. Don't give me this like, I've given my absolute all and I can't barely make it to the bench. That's not true because I've seen you back check and glide, and I've seen you back check and skate. So I know you can fucking make it over there. Just skate over there, please, for the love of Christ.
Connor says that Markstrom will be out for a little bit after his injury tonight. So Markstrom will miss some time.
Yeah, he looked like he hyperextended his knee or something there when it got.
It was a tough little crash.
Yeah.
So Allen will be playing. The focus will be on him. Sean Michael says, moving a Hall of Fame vet to Colorado again. First it was Bork, now Marchand. I'm telling you, I think unless they win 4 or 5 games here and stay in it, I really think it's on the table. Especially after 4 Nations when they get all buddy and have a few beers and think about the way life could be. I think it could definitely happen. I think Marchand could come back and say, hey, send me because I'm not going to sign here.
Yeah, good hunting and fishing in Colorado.
How much is Marchand? This was proposed. I think it was Hugh Frazier. Marchand is a big part of the problem. How much of the problem do you think? How much is he a problem at all?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's part of the problem. Is he a big part of the problem? No, I don't think he's a big part of the problem. But he's part of the problem. Look, he hasn't been very good, but he's older, and he has zero help. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's trying to do too much, just like Pastrnak was earlier in the season. And Pastrnak kind of found his way out of it where he's starting to use his other players more and he's skating better and he's, being smarter with the puck, all that. Like, Marchand's got a lot of miles on him. He's coming off 3 surgeries or whatever it is. Like, and he has no help. His alternate captains are useless. And I think the captaincy weighs on him too. I don't think he can play like how he really needs to play to be himself and be successful. He can't be the irritating pest that he is with the C on his sweater. It's just, it's, the Bruins don't want that. They've talked about him, trying to channel some of that stuff and stay away from the extracurriculars and channel that into his game. But that's not really when he's the most successful. He's in your face. He's talking smack. He's giving somebody a rabbit punch. He's, slew footing somebody. He's, when he needs to play on the edge to be his true Brad Marchand. And
I'm not sure he's the leader type because he's kind of snarky. Like, I'm sure in the locker room he picks on guys. He's a teaser. He's just that kind of guy. You know what I mean? And I don't think he's not Bergeron. You go from Bergeron, who's like real straight laced, like real professional, typical leader, shower too. And then you have Marchand, who will fucking, he'll slew foot a guy. He'll slew foot his own teammate. He'll rabbit punch in the back of the head in practice. Like, is that really the captain of the team? Like, that's the whole issue I had with him being captain is I just don't think his personality is captain-like.
It's not captain-like, but the problem with that is, do they have another guy on the roster that could be the captain?
Yeah,
no,
sure.
They don't.
Valid point.
They don't.
Valid point.
There's a absence of good leadership there. There's an absence of leadership. Some of those other guys that are been thrust kind of into leadership roles. Your McAvoys and I guess Pastrnak because he's got an A, but like those guys, McAvoy's still too young, I think, and Pastrnak is not. He's a offensive player. He's not a leader. You're not following those guys' example. So, I don't know. It's they need some veterans with some cachet, and they need a coach with some cachet that can change that locker room from everybody's entitled to, you got to work for ice time.
Yeah. Jeremy, to answer your question, Sway wasn't bad tonight. In fact, he was good to great in the second period. But then he was pulled, I think, because he'll start tomorrow night on the back-to-back, and they just gave Korpisalo the third period to kind of save Swayman because they're going to need him tomorrow night too. So, but he was good. He was at times he was excellent. In the second
period. That little stretch in the second period, he was spectacular.
He was. Yeah.
So it wasn't on him. I mean, what was it? 3 power play goals.
3 power play goals.
Yeah.
So and a lot of friggin' time in the zone and kicking the puck around, and it was just poorly managed. It was a really bad second period. Well, we hope that the next 3 periods against the Ottawa Senators on Thursday night are better. They're going to need this one. The Bruins are.
They're going to need everyone from here on out.
They can't lose again to the Senators, a team that they're chasing now in the standings. They're out of the wild card, a couple spots out of the wild card now, and rapidly falling. Bruins lose tonight 5-1 to New Jersey. We'll be back at it tomorrow night. Join us as you have tonight. We appreciate it as always. Until tomorrow night, go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.